So I'm continuing the talks on the ox herding pictures. And this one is called Seeing the Ox. This is picture 3. And you'll have a picture in front of you showing the initial glimpse of the ox. Notice we just see its butt. So in picture 1, we talked about the mysterious urge to begin seeking. But we really don't understand what we're seeking for. We just seek. In picture 2, we begin to get glimpses, traces, but we're still lost in the weeds of delusion. Nonetheless, there are some subtle impacts in our life. So picture 3 depicts the phase that begins with a clear moment of no self. This is a moment of no thoughts. Sometimes we don't even realize that we have no thoughts. They may arise, this moment may arise and be gone in an instant. It's a moment of just sensations. Your thoughts are silent. You're just present. It's a rather subtle experience for most of us. I clearly remember the very first time this happened to me. I was doing a Shambhala weekend in New York City. And I've been sitting the whole weekend. And there was a moment where I was just aware of the light in the windows, people sitting in front of me, the forms of people sitting in front of me, the quiet, and the sense of bodies in the room, other people in the room. And then the thought arose, I'm not having any thoughts. My mind had gone silent. And of course that was the end of that moment. But the other thing that happened was I thought, what's the big deal? This is just, the same sensations that I experience all the time. Nothing special. So I got kind of started on that. The mind started thinking, well, really, this is no big deal. So there was this was Shambhala training, and the teachers are senior students most of the time for these retreats. And so I went in to see this senior student, who I didn't know very well at all, but who I quite liked. And I told him of my experience and how disappointing it was, really. I was expecting bolts of lightning and flashes of, the earth to, I don't know, what are you guys expecting? And he sat there and he just thought for a moment. And then he said, disappointment is the footprint of expectation. I thought, well, he's got me there. You really nailed that one. So it was, that was my first experience of no thought. Well, I suspect it's pretty much the same for everybody. You may not notice it because there's just a gap between our thoughts and then the next one flows in. But if you start to notice the gap, and you ask, so who's there in that gap? Of course, that's a thought. It's a good question to ask, a good question to hold. So who's there in that gap with no thoughts? Awareness is there. What's that? So let me read you the preface, the verse, and the waka that go with this phase of practice. Through sound, you gain entry. By sight, you face your source. The six senses are none different. In each daily deed, plainly there, like salt and water or glue and paint. Raise your eyebrows. It's nothing else. That pretty much captures that experience that I had. You know, just sensations. It's cool, but certainly familiar. And the verse. In the trees, nightingales sing and sing again. Sun warms a soft wind. Green willows line the bank. Here, there's nowhere left for it to hide. Its majestic head and horns, no artist could draw. And the waka, by the way, I found out, means poetry. In spring, sun in the green willow stands. See its timeless form. Actually, I misread that. In spring, sun in the green willow strands. See its timeless form. You see, there's no I there in the verse and in the waka. There's no watcher discerning the willow strands and the spring sun. There's just the sensation of spring sun and willow strands. Just the perception without thought or judgment. This is the rear end of the ox. No thoughts equates to no self. No self. We talk about no self a lot in Zen. It's almost scary to some people, letting go of self. A bell rings, and you are the bell. There's no separation. Your whole body vibrates with the bell. No thought, just bell. This is your true self. The moment a thought enters, you are back. Self is back. One thought, just like that. Mountains and rivers away from it. That line in the sutra. The moment you separate, you are mountains and rivers away from it. For those of you who are on the Grail residential retreat, I think it was the June retreat when we had all the cicadas. You remember the buzzing, constant buzzing? We were just the buzz. Somebody said to me, the cicadas are sitting zazen, and we are buzzing. Yeah. We get really quiet. There was no separation. That ineffable moment of interconnectedness. There's no way to describe it except sometimes these moments are so fleeting you don't recognize them. They're just here and gone. Sometimes you're not sure. Did my thoughts just stop? So this is the journey. These fleeting moments. Not sure, not knowing, wanting more, wanting to know, not knowing, wanting it as if it were something you could get, you could hold. Nothing to hold. So there are meditation techniques which will aid in the experience of no thoughts. I teach them sometimes in sesshin. I think I even taught them once on a Sunday morning. One is a guided awareness developed by Dr. Daniel Siegel. He's a psychologist. He's done some wonderful work. But he calls it the Wheel of Awareness. And you can find it online if you look up Dan Siegel and Wheel of Awareness. And essentially what he does is your awareness is the hub of a wheel, and he walks you through all the spokes of the wheel, focusing on your sensations. And then at the end, after you've been really concentrating on your sensations, he asks you to take your awareness towards the center of awareness itself. And in that instant, if you can do it, if you've really been able to stay with him, it's not very hard to do. In that instant, your thoughts stop. Try it. Dan Siegel, Wheel of Awareness. It takes about a half an hour. Another method which I teach in sesshin is called turning the light around. Taking a step backwards and turning your light within. And essentially, it is the same thing, except you just do it while you're in sesshin, and you take your awareness and turn it towards the source of your awareness. It's like turning it to look at the light of your awareness. It actually feels like light when you do it. And for that instant, again, it's hard to get any long period of time with it. You can stop your thoughts. You start by following your breath, and then when your breath is settled, and usually day 2 of a sesshin would be an appropriate time to try it, because your thoughts do slow down. You just turn your awareness towards your awareness. And if you stick with it, you'll break through thought. Both of these methods require a lot of concentration. So you can do that through a very concentrated practice. Or if you're sitting a full 7-day sesshin and you've been really careful not to talk, your mind relaxes and you just kind of drop into it. This moment of no thoughts. And it's a completely relaxed state. So the relaxed state's a little more pleasant, but one is not better than the other. It's good to have that experience. So I want to encourage you to stick with your sitting practice wherever you are and work on being present to yourself. If you push too hard, nothing will happen. If it's not this moment, it may be the next one or the one after that. And if you push too hard, you'll stir up a lot of obstacles that will just get in your way. Obstacles like competitiveness, self-judging, self-criticism, wanting to achieve a goal. These will only make it harder to find the ox. If you're sitting regularly, coming to the Zendo regularly, seeing me or one of the seniors in Doksan, you're really practicing hard, you'll have these moments. You'll get to see the back end of the ox. How can you not see it? However, it is not yet enlightenment.